and we're live. So hopefully this one runs. We'll put up a little intro thing just so that way everyone can get back in here.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The Leaf Spring Army sends its regards.
Ще не вмерла України ні слава, ні воля. Ще нам, браття українці, усміхнеться доля. Згинуть наші вороженьки, як роса на сонці. Запануємо ми, браття, у своїй сторонці. Душу й тіло ми положим за нашу свободу і покажем, що ми браття козацького роду. Душу й тіло ми положим за нашу свободу і покажем, що ми браття козацького роду.
Alright, and we're back. We had some lag problems there. It's most likely an internet issue because the internet's been really wonky tonight. So sorry about that, everyone, but we're right back to where we were. Apparently it's the chief of joint operations in Ukraine. So let's see who that is. And it looks like...
And also, Enforcer, I'm not sure if you're able to hear what I said or not before the lag got us, but the fellow's name was Eduard Moskilev, and he was the commander of the Joint Forces of Ukraine, and he was dismissed without reason, according to Reuters.
Let's see here. It appears that that's been reported on Reuters, Sky News, Global News, and Yahoo News from here. And let's see if we can get more news about it. See, that's not about that. That's not about that. None of those are about it. So it looks like these four are about it. And let's see here. What else do we got? It looks like a decent amount of people reported on that, including Reuters. So that is something interesting to keep in, I guess you could say, keep in line, because almost everyone reported on it, and I haven't seen anything to contradict it. Maybe, let's see, Edward Moskilev, Ukraine.
Now, is Bakhmut in the Donbass?
Yes.
I wonder if his firing was related to the strategy that's being carried out in Bakhmut.
I don't know. I wouldn't really know enough about the interior dealings of what's going on back there to really say if it is or isn't. But with that, were we on a poll when we were addressing that?
No, we were actually about to move into the polls, but we saw some questions and addressed that first.
Oh, okay. So I guess that addresses it. From what we know right now, the news and information we've gotten, he was fired, and we haven't seen anything to contradict that, at least according to the news outlets that are out there right now, whether they're trustworthy or not. So with that, I hope that addresses that fairly well, and we are on to the next one. And then Thorne said, where are the viewers? Some of them probably just, some of them probably called a night. Well, probably a lot of them called a night after the first one just lagged out, because usually that's incredibly infuriating for a lot of people, and I wouldn't blame them. It is infuriating. So with that, we are on to the polls.
All right, and our first poll says Finland begins constructing a barrier fence along its eastern border with Russia. And what are your thoughts? 59% said that's good, play it safe. 33% said Finland is on Russia's radar. 3% said unsure, and 5% said seems unnecessary. And since Russia did invade Ukraine, I would definitely say it's not necessarily unnecessary. I would say it's good to play it safe, and I don't blame them. I would put up a fence too if I was them. But Enforcer, what say you?
I would say that's a pretty smart thing to do. I put up a fence because there's probably a lot of Russians trying to just, run across and live there. And so it's probably a good idea to put up a fence so that way you just don't have pro-Russians shilling for Russia inside of your country while also not wanting to be in Russia at the same time. And so with that, I hope that addresses that fairly well. And guess what? We're on to the next one.
All right, and the next one says the U.S. says Russia does not have the resources to compete in a nuclear arms race. Who would have known? And what are your thoughts? 50% said Russia is still dangerous, even given that fact. 25% said Russia is not a real threat. 21% said I'm still slightly concerned, and 4% said unsure and undecided. And all it takes to be a dangerous country is to simply have one nuclear weapon. So I'm going to say Russia is still dangerous because of that fact. Now, obviously, we don't know if their nuclear weapons work as well as they claim to work, but still nonetheless pretty dangerous. But Enforcer, what say you?
I would say the same thing. I would say the Russians are fairly dangerous with the current arsenal they have, and there's really no point for them to go into a nuclear arms race to be any more dangerous. They probably don't have the ability to anyways. So with that, I hope that addresses the comment fairly well, and we're on to the next one. And a lot of people are like, oh my god, like, there's nobody here. Well, that's because it probably didn't even get pushed to anyone either. There was no notification that probably went out on this one, because I think YouTube only gives us like 2 of them for a 24-hour period. So we've already technically used 2, so this one probably didn't even get pushed at all to anybody. So y'all are lucky to be here. Y'all are lucky. Y'all found it. But still, with that, we are on to the next one.
And the next one says, if China starts militarily supporting Russia, as the Pentagon has suggested, could it start World War III? 45% said, it would only raise tensions. 40% said, yes, it would set the stage for such. 10% said, no, it would not. And 6% said, unsure and undecided. Now the question, could it start World War III? It definitely could. But to say for certain if it would or not, I don't know. I'm going to have to go with unsure. But Enforcer, what say you?
I'm going to have to say, can you reread the line? Because there was a little bit of lag there at the end, and I was about to go look at OBS, so I got distracted from the whole thing. So, reread the line.
And the question is, if China starts militarily supporting Russia, as the Pentagon suggests, could it start World War III?
I would doubt it. It would just become a proxy war in between China and the United States through Ukraine and Russia, but it wouldn't start the Third World War, much like Korea and also Vietnam didn't start the Third World War either, and also Afghanistan. So with that, I hope that addresses that one fairly well, and we are on to the next one if we have another poll.
All right, and the fourth and last one says the IAEA is again concerned that battles are occurring near the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. And what are your thoughts? 51% said nothing can be done. 23% said unsure. 5% said temporary ceasefire question mark, and 21%, said Ukraine should avoid fighting near it. And I'm going to say I'm going to go with the last option. I think Ukraine should avoid fighting near it at all costs. Even if it means giving up a little bit of ground, because if that thing were to get hit and somehow it were to have a meltdown or blow up, that would have catastrophic consequences, much worse than simply losing a little bit of ground. But Enforcer, what say you?
Blow up. I would say, in my opinion,
the shark did say that.
the shark did not say that. I wish we could play that, Matthew, on stream. The shark did not say that. That was the guy on the mast of the ship. I swear it was, man. But anyways,
we're talking about Jaws, by the way.
Yeah, we're talking about Jaws. This is a thing that's been going on in our family for years now. Matthew insists that the shark in the movie said "blow up," but I swear it was the freaking guy with a rifle on the ship's mast as it was sinking while he was shooting the shark. That's what I'm sticking with. I cannot believe the shark said a theory. Like, I just can't. But anyways, moving on from that and answering that question, I would say, dagnabbit, the whole shark thing, Matty, threw me off. Please reread the line.
The question is, the IAEA is again concerned that battles are occurring near the Zaporizhzhia
okay.
nuclear power plant. And what are your thoughts?
I won't make you. Okay, you reread the whole thing anyways. I was going to try and cut you off. Be like, okay, I remember it now. I wouldn't fight around it. You can easily take it by maneuver. If for example, an offensive was occurring in this area around Vasilivka, just move down towards Vesely, and you pretty much cut the Russians off from any meaningful road. They would be forced to retreat from Enerhodar regardless. So, I would say that's probably the best thing to do, because otherwise you're jeopardizing the safety of the power plant, and that could become a serious issue. So with that, I hope that addresses that poll fairly well, and I think we're now finally on to the questions.
Yes, we are. And also, you see that in the chat, Red in 1967 said the shark growled. So the shark did say something. Like, that sound did not come from a human. That was the shark.
Hell no. No. We're gonna get copyrighted for this. But I'm going to show it because this isn't the mainstream, so at least they can watch the news without getting copyright on that. So, let me see. What's it called? Jaws sinking boat scene. So, let's see here.
I think it's that second one, movie clips.
This one? Nah, that's he's getting eaten in that one. Let's see. Oh. Jaws shark blows up. Here we go.
Yeah.
There it is. All right. Come on.
This is fair use, by the way. We're commenting on this video.
Yes, we are. We're using this for commentary and educational purposes. So I'm going to mute it, though, until we get to that point. So, the boat's sinking. He gets out the rifle. For some reason, they have, like, a Remington 700 on a sinking boat. I don't know why. I forgot why they had that. Wait a minute. Hang on. Is that an M1 Garand? It is.
I never noticed that.
Well, look, he grabs it, and, yeah, it's an M1 Garand. I always thought it was like a Remington, like, bolt action or something like that. So now he's climbing up the mast, he's got the harpoon and the rifle. Alright, so he's getting on up there. I almost feel like movie recaps. Hi guys, movie recaps here. Today we're going to talk about a movie where a man's on a sinking boat and has to kill a shark. You see the water is thick with oil. I think that was supposed to be oil. And here comes the shark. He stabs it with a harpoon. Wow, that didn't really age well, did it? The shark just thrashing around down there, not really doing anything.
It looks so fake.
Stabbing the rubber sheet on top of that thing. The shark is out of the water. The shark is broken. So now the shark backs off.
It's mustering it up. It's thinking about it.
Wait, here it is. This is it. Dang it, I think we missed it. Hang on.
Come on. Show me the tank. Show me the tank. Blow up.
That's him!
That was the shark!
Him! No, it was not the shark.
No,
the shark wasn't even in the shot.
Keep playing it.
It
says it again. It says it again.
I gotta mute it, though, until he says it again, because I know it's after he shoots. So... Okay, so here comes the shark. Gotta mute again.
That's about to say. Oh.
That was him!
Man, that was the shark! That was the shark.
Okay, I
know that was a shark.
Oh, wait a minute. YouTube's already saying they've detected some copyrightable stuff. Dag nabbit.
Oh.
Dang it. It says your stream may be temporarily Why? We did it that was fair use 100%. Because we were commenting over the entire thing. So, anyways, yes, I think it was a guy. And it looks like 57% agree with me. It was the guy. I'm telling y'all, for that movie to be as like realistic as it was in most aspects, it would make no sense for the shark to talk. It's not Jabberjaw.
Listen, this debate's been going on for 10 years in our family. 10 years. I still say it's the shark. And I'll never let go of it. It was the shark that said it.
It was. I'm not. It was the guy 100%. But anyways, with that, hopefully the stream doesn't get restricted or whatever, because it was copyright, like fair use and all that crap. Anyways, with that, we are on to the next one. But that was the freaking guy, man. That was the guy.
Shelty Dog said, why would the shark want to blow up? I don't know, but the shark said it. Ask the Russians why they run into bomblets. Yes.
Blow up.
But,
and Tom H said, sharks can't talk. That's what I'm saying. And then Dennis Wilson said, Andrew, you would gurgle too if you had a spear in your throat. Maybe, but I'm not a shark. I'm not a shark. But anyways, we're on to the next one.
All right, so we're on to our super chat questions, and real quick, we have to return back to Trister Ones because he put in a 50 earlier, and he asked the question that it was actually a bot he was referring to. So I'm going to let him ask another one. Trister says, "Is the A10 a viable use for CAS?"
Is the A10 a viable use for close air support? In some oh, YouTube's fine with it, Matthew. They gave us the green light. So, you know what's funny is that
somebody was being fair, at least on YouTube this time.
Yeah. Every time a person has to come down here and review something live, they always give us the green light. So that's good to know. Anyways, moving on to answer that question, I would say the A10 would be okay at close air support, but it would have to operate carefully. The A10, like a previous discussion that had been brought up on this channel during the year anniversary, was that the A10 and the SU-25 are similar in mission and everything, but I would have to disagree because the SU-25 has like a cruising speed of 600 something miles an hour. So what's the Let's see. So its maximum speed is 606 miles per hour. The A10's maximum speed is far lower. So let me go all the way down here and find that for y'all. And cruising speed for the A10 is 340 miles an hour. So about half of what an SU-25
slow.
Yeah, it's pretty slow. And that's something that's got to be considered seriously, because if it's slow, it's much easier of a target for anything to hit, whether it be man pads, whether it just be rifle fire, or hell, even a gush gun. You know, if it's well aimed, it will be able to hit this thing because it just flies so slow. So as far as close air support goes, it is practically going to use the gun. There's really nothing else that can be used on an A10 for close air support rather than rocket pods and guns. It's going to have to get right up on it. It's going to have to look at the target, unlike, just tilting up and firing it. And if you're going to take an A10, load it up with rocket pods, and then fly to the front lines and just tilt it up and fire it, you may as well just get the Ukrainians SU-25s at that point, because they do the same thing and they already know how to work on those, operate them, and fly them. So that would be a lot easier for them for that reason. So in terms of close air support, I wouldn't really think the A10 would do that well. In terms of if it had an entire support package that was able to use all of its hard points with all the weapons it is able to carry, like, for example, the guided bombs and such things, I think it would do fairly well. But even then, there's a caveat to that as to whether it's in a safe area to operate or not. But still, no one can lie. The A10 does look pretty, for lack of a better term, badass. So with that, I hope that does address that question fairly well, Trister, and we are on to the next one. And thank you once again for the support and helping this channel to keep on running. And I'm sorry that the last one was thrown to a bot. Apparently the bot was obsessed about MQ9s. And with that, on to the next one.
All right, and the next one is from Colleen Emsley, who puts in a $40 donation and says, "Hello again from Calling Lake. No more intruders, but I'm ready now. Thank you so much for your coverage and the enormous fundraiser. That's what I say on my horse as well. And Colleen, I would like to know how you prepared, but of course I don't know how Canadian law works, so might not want to say it over the air. But I'm glad to hear it."
When the burglar comes in your house and this weird, sticky and viscous fluid starts coming out of the walls. Hey, what's this? And then a match drops from the second floor. Oh man, that would be something. But still, moving on from that, I gotta thank you so much for the support, Colleen. And it's good to hear that there have been no more intruders and that you are now ready. I would hate to know that you were not ready, but it is good to know that you were well prepared. Of course, we don't know the laws up there in Canada, so we don't really want to say too much as a fear of YouTube coming down and whacking us. But still, thank you so much once again for support and being our in-house Lee Spring Army helicopter pilot, and also sharing with us a pretty cool story. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support. I hope that does address the comment fairly well, and I hope whatever you've done, you are ready, because that's one thing I draw. I will say this clearly. That's one thing I do draw the line on, is someone breaking into your house. Like, that's the only place in the world where you can really feel safe, because you're kind of in control of everything in your house. You're not in control of anything at, like, say, a college campus or anything like that, so there's a level of danger to be had out there. But in your house, you should be safe. It is a castle, Matthew. It is a castle, and you have to defend that castle. So
it's your safe haven, your abode.
It's your castle. You got castle doctrine. You got to stand your ground. And you know,
At least here you do.
well, yeah, at least in Alabama you do. And in my opinion, I will say this. I am a big fan of that because I feel like it's really stupid that you have to retreat in your own house, the only place that you really are safe at. So with that, and of course, I say really safe in relative terms. But with that, I hope that does address that fairly well, Colleen. Thank you so much once again for the support, and make sure to stay safe. And so with that, we are on to the next one.
And the next one goes to Super Bunker 9000, who puts in a $20 donation and says, "Howdy, folks. Greatest bunch of friends a man can have on YouTube. You guys and enforcers are awesome. Slav Ukraine and chat question, please."
And thank you so much for the support, and also saying that it's a great group of friends. The Lee Spring Army is by far one of the best communities I've ever seen on YouTube. No question about it. And I thank you so much for enjoying the Lee Spring Army and also enjoying Matthew and me, because we try and make it as interesting as possible to watch. And I find it a high honor that you do enjoy it. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support. We will make sure to get a live chat, and thank you for being a Lee Spring Army soldier, because I assume if you enjoy this channel so that much, you've got to be in the Lee Spring Army. You've got to be. And so with that, we're on to the next one. Also, Matthew, I saw earlier Beeps and Eats. Yeah, Beeps and Eats finding food and treasure. He said, double tap him, double tap him. I was like, I don't know about that, but I still think you ought to be able to stand your ground in your house. But, you know, that's honestly at your discretion. I don't know if I would, but hey. Anyways, let's get a live chat.
All right, and the live chat question goes to the Salty Bunny, who says, "I read somewhere that Putin was moving forward conscripting the high education students, and is that a thing?"
I've been hearing that. I haven't gotten any proof to show it, but that has been going around in rumors, but no one's really sure if that is happening or isn't happening. So right now, we don't know for certain. It's a great question. We've been hearing rumors. People have been saying there's been rumors, but beyond that, we don't really have anything substantive to go with right now. So with that, I hope that answers that question fairly well. And thank you so much once again for the support and sponsoring that live chat. And so with that, we're on to the next one, and thank you once again. And now everyone's talking about, you know, the whole breaking and entering thing. You know, I gotta say, in my opinion, it's I see a lot of people adding in. I'll just say 12 gauge and let y'all fill in the blanks. So with that, we're on to the next.
Look, I saw Paddington say that you can't protect your property with threat of bodily harm. The law is equal or opposite force except for murder. You can't murder a break and enter burglar over property, unfortunately. And that's something, because the fact alone that they're breaking into your house would lead you to believe that bodily harm might be coming your way, or at least that's what I think in my mind. That's pretty weird. You have to like wait and see if they're going to attack you before you can like act against them. I guess the way I interpret that. Maybe I'm wrong, but
I think in
I don't know.
Alabama,
Canada has some weird laws.
I think in Alabama, if someone breaks into your property and they're a trespasser, you can practically get them on site. You know, like if you as soon as you, well, you know, it depends, but largely in Alabama, it would you know, go perfectly fine if, you know, you were walking through a hallway in your house and you saw some guy and it looked like he had something in his hand and you blasted him. Usually nothing would happen. You know, of course, there's exceptions to that though. But anyways, with that, we are on to the next one.
All right. And up next, we have a $20 super chat from Jose Ruano, who says, "Be honest, did you guys give Bob Seger a chance or not? If you didn't, you are haters and don't listen to good advice. JK."
Well, thank you for the support. Sadly, I haven't had enough time to listen to really any music. So sadly, I have not listened to Bob Seger. But I promise you, give me some time and I will give it a chance. Because, you know, that's... I don't like to not listen to music, so I'll give it a chance. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support and helping this channel to keep on running. And now, Matthew, I have to pull it up. In Alabama.
And also, while you're pulling that up real quick, I just wanted to say that no matter what, just take this one piece of advice. If you're ever in a situation where you have to defend your house or your life, wait to speak to police until after you've gotten an attorney and listen to their advice first. Don't go speak to police. That's the worst mistake you can make.
Yeah, don't talk to police no matter what. Just tell them I'm not answering any questions no matter what. But according to Stone Britt Webb, the defendant's use of lethal force in Alabama may be justified based on self-defense or defense of another. So, if you have kids in the house, I had kids in the house, I didn't know what this guy is going to do, so, I got him. Or, in self-defense, the guy was in the house. He's obviously not supposed to be in the house, and I didn't know if he had something or not. It was dark, so I blasted him, and, that it is what it is. So in Alabama, you could, that's something you can do. For everyone else, of course, that doesn't apply in Canada. That may not apply in most states, for all I know. So always make sure to check up on what you can do in your state. Because in Alabama, it appears you can, for the large part. But with that, we're on to the next one.
All right. And up next, we have a $20 super chat from Terrence Custer, who says, Mondays, I always fire up YouTube to watch the stream. I'm addicted. You deserve the break. Happy Taco Tuesday.
And thank you so much for the support. And thank you for supporting us on Taco Tuesday. And also, I always hate to hear when people want to see our streams on Mondays, but we don't run one. Because if I had the energy and I knew I could go 7 days a week nonstop, I would do it. But at the same time, it's fairly exhausting to do this 6 days a week. And Matthew can tell you that 1 day's break is incredibly well felt on both Matthew and me. It gets us recharged just within 24 hours to do another 6 days. So I hate that we don't run it, though, on Mondays, but I do thank you so much for the support, and I'm glad that you do enjoy the channel enough that you are addicted, and that you also support us to keep it running, too. And so with that, we are on to the next one, and thank you so much once again. And with that, we're on to the next one.
And also, I saw Fiuma say, why is no one talking about the 2 shoot-downs of tic-tac-shaped UFOs over U.S. airspace? Well, Fiuma, like I said in the chat, they abandoned the search for the objects. They said they weren't able to recover anything, and the stories just died, and that's how it ended. So we'll never know the end of that saga and exactly what happened. And I'm sure the government intended it to be that way, but sadly, we'll never know. But up next, we have a $20 super chat from Marion Deemer, who says, see what Ukrainians did in London. In front of the Ruski embassy, they poured yellow and blue paint, plant-based, and the cars and buses drew the Ukrainian flag. Also, the street the embassy is on was renamed Kiev Street.
I did see that. I thought it was pretty cool. But like I'm gonna be honest here for a second on that one. It was really cool to see. I thought it was really neat to see that on the street. However, I didn't like that we were watching because it was permanent paint. It was like it's actual just paint in a wheelbarrow that they were pouring out. I didn't like watching cars driving through that and like getting blue and yellow paint on it, because I was sitting there thinking, like, if that was my car, now my car is going to have like yellow paint on the tires until the tires wear down enough that the yellow paint's gone. And I was like, that was a little aggravating to me, because and then rather than just doing that to the embassy and like getting these people's cars like tires covered yellow, it didn't really do anything. Like, in my opinion, like I feel like if you support Ukraine, instead of like pouring paint on a street, and then they ended up getting arrested for it too, because it did cause damage to people's car tires and stuff like that. Wait a minute, someone said it was water-based paint. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Correction then. All right. I guess it's fine. Because I would thought when I saw it that it was actual real paint, like paint you paint walls with and stuff. And I saw the paint get off people's tires, and I was like, man, if that was my tire, I would be miffed, because my tires would be yellow forever. So, okay, sorry, correction there. Apparently it wasn't that bad, so I'm going to scratch that. It was good to see. The reason why I was complaining about it is because I thought it was permanent paint. Apparently it was not. The away team said, it was literally edible paint. Is there such a thing as edible paint?
Never heard of that.
Edible paint.
Sounds expensive.
It is. It was edible. There is such a thing as edible paint. It looks like it comes in small amounts, though. I don't know.
Man, they must have spent some money to get that kind of paint.
Okay, so I'm going to correct my statement there. I thought it was permanent paint, and that's what I was saying I didn't really like it for. Considering it's... I just noticed, Matthew, that the second option here is actually, it's little
Oh,
questionable. Just noticed
wait.
that.
Oh my God.
Okay, well, apparently it is edible. We can confirm that now from that listing right there. So sorry, y'all. I didn't realize that. I thought it was permanent paint and that they were rolling car tires through it and getting them permanently dyed yellow or blue. So correction on that. I'm sorry about that. And so
Why is
moving
that popping up in your sponsored box?
sponsored, dude. You think I look at edible paint? That's the first time I pulled that up, and that just pops.
That's a
Look,
joke. That's a joke. Dude.
what the
Oh, God.
dude? I wouldn't click on that website, but what the hell? Like that is just bizarre. Anyways, getting back to answering your question, I thought it was really cool. I love that they named the street Kiev Street. And now knowing that the paint didn't actually stick on to people's cars, it was pretty cool because I thought it looked really cool. I liked the look of it. But considering that I thought it was permanent paint, I didn't like it getting on tires. But now that we know it was just edible paint, pretty cool to know. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support. I hope that does address the comment fairly well. And I did see it, and it was pretty neat. And so we're on to the next one.
All right. And up next, we have a $20 super chat from, I was told it's actually Jesus again, but I'm not sure. Jesus, UCSB, who says, Enforcer, we can do a live show from my backyard in Anaheim. Ask the Latinos in LSA about Mexican backyard parties. It would be epic. Oh, and LOL, it's not Jesus, it's Spanish accent, Jesus.
And thank you for the support, Jesus UCSB. I thought you originally said it was Jesus. I swear.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I thought we did. But we don't have to ask around what a Mexican party is like. We've been to a Mexican party before. I think. Let's see. Let me remember. What was the exact story behind that, Matthew?
When were we at that?
Like years ago.
I'm
Remember,
trying
it
to
was
think.
like it was like a
Like,
security
when?
thing, where we're facing down, the cops. Remember that? We hung out there.
Oh,
They had like the
oh
bull,
yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
had like the bull ring and all that stuff set up.
Yeah, they're actually quite fun, I gotta say.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Very lively.
I mean, like, they had the bussin' music, like and then they had the bull riding pit. Then they had some pretty good food. I mean, it was a pretty cool party all around. And if that's the party you're talking about, that would be pretty cool. So I got to thank you for the support once again, Jesus UCSB. And also, that would be a pretty cool idea. That's a pretty good one. Also, Jose Ruano said carnitas are good. Man, real Mexican food is really good.
It is really good. I just remembered. I'm jogging my memory. I remember when we were at that gathering that some dude went and got his like Dodge pickup truck and went and jumped over that like
God.
10-foot like
Yeah.
hill and smashed his transmission to pieces.
No, and the suspension. Yeah, he just leveled out the suspension. Oh man, I remember that now. But dude, that was actually kind of wild because for them to have that party, the city police literally started to come out of the city and try to shut it down. So there was like a face-off out there with the sheriff's department and the police. It was kind of wild because it was in the middle of the county. It wasn't even in. Well, actually, it was right on the edge of the city limits and in the county. So that was really wild that was happening literally just like a quarter mile away from the party itself. But still, it was really cool nonetheless. And Mexican food, speaking of carnitas, real Mexican food is delicious. Like, everything about it is really good. Like, the tamales, the enchiladas, all that stuff. I mean, like, it's really, really good. And it's best to get it from a real Mexican restaurant. There's a lot of them now in Alabama. There used to not be, but there's a decent amount of them now. And the food's great. I mean, like, you can't beat authentic Mexican food. Like, Chipotle is okay, but going to a real Mexican restaurant that actually has like Mexican cooks that actually cooked the food, instead of just getting a bowl of, like, I guess Mexican themed stuff, it's a lot better tasting. Like, you just can't beat it. So with that, I hope that addresses that fairly well. I thank you so much once again for the support, Jesus UCSB, and that is a fairly good idea. And so with that, we are on to the next one, and thank you once again. Also, Walter Clay said, getting hungry. Oh, man.
Yes.
Matthew and me are always hungry for some good food, and Mexican food is good food. And so with that, we're on to the next one.
And up next, we have a $20 super chat from William Allen, excuse me, who says, Arming drones created great video for my cyberspace history reports. I'd write about the cyber mission, follow it up with the results linked in the narrative or footnotes. Unbelievable stuff. And whoop.
And thank you for the support. And really interesting to hear that you actually wrote a paper on that. Right now, funnily enough, in college to graduate, I'm having to write a paper on the Battle of Hostomel. I got to choose the topic, so I chose that because, it's something I do. And that's really cool to hear that you covered that. And it's really crazy to think about how far that technology has progressed, too, because like just in a matter of a decade, it's gone way further than I think anyone really thought it would. Like, when Call of Duty Advanced Warfare came out, Matthew, and the drone swarm thing started at the beginning of that game, everyone was like, huh, that's like science fiction. That's like 50 years in the... I think that game was like based like 50 years in the future from now. It was like 2077 or something like that.
I think so.
And everyone was like, "Oh wow, that's a funny depiction of like the future, really crazy and outlandish." And now we're seeing almost that happen on the front lines, of course, in a much less dense form, but still, it is happening, and that's really crazy to think how fast drone technology has really progressed like that. And so with that,
I don't know if Odin's real too.
oh, nah, that's not real. Nah, that'd take too much money. But still.
That's what people said about the drones then too.
Well, nah, man. Everyone said that would be inefficient, because you could just blow them out of the sky because there's so many of them in a spot. But with Odin, the military's already looked into trying to do that, and it would be prohibitively expensive. And not only that, it's not really something you can just put inside of a payload fairing of like a Delta IV rocket, like this, and just shoot off into space, because it would be such a big platform, such a big satellite. It would take multiples of these things launching and then sending up astronauts to probably try and connect it and weld it all together. It would be an affair that people would clearly be able to see and know is going on. It wouldn't be something that could be kept secret for long, So with that, I hope that does address that fairly well. And with that, we're on to the next one.
And up next, we have a $20 super chat from BC Skyman, who says, "Please answer Pakatang's question, please, and Slava Ukraine." And BC, thank you very much for that support, as always. And I believe he is still around, hopefully. I think he made it back from the other stream. But I do have Pakatang's question up here. Let me see. Here we go. And Pakatang says, "Does Russia have an oil pipeline to China, or only a gas pipeline? And does this make Chinese oil imports a point for NATO to influence Chinese supplies of lethal aid to Russia?"
That is a good question. Does Russia and China have a pipeline? The full China-Russia East Route is a pipeline system spanning more than 8,000 kilometers with a 3,000 kilometer section in Russia and a 5,111 kilometer stretch in China. It transmits natural gas from Siberia to 9 provincial level regions in China, according to a report from the Xinhua news agency. Are there pipelines between China and Russia? Yes, there is. So, I hope that answers your question fairly well. And we're on to the next. I'm just kidding. We're not on to the next one yet. It appears it's only natural gas. It appears that the Russians' main export to its neighbors is natural gas and then oil to the rest. So, yes, they do. So I hope that answers the question fairly well. I thank you so much once again for support, BC Skyman, and sponsoring Pakatang's question. And with that, we're on to the next one. And thank you once again for the support.
And up next, we have a $20 super chat from Julia Lawson, who says, "Hello again from Yorktown, Virginia." Excuse me. "Hello again from Yorktown, Virginia. The historic Triangle, Williamsburg, Yorktown, Jamestown, local LSA chapter, Virginia, and YT, and Gloucester and Matthews. Virginia stands with Ukraine."
And thank you for the support, and also thank you for being a part of the Lee Spring Army. Really interesting for you to use the word chapter. I hope that's meant in like a Warhammer 40k way, not like a biker gang kind of thing. Because I would hate to know that like in 5 years' time, there's a biker gang terrorizing in Virginia called the LSA. I would be like, oh man, that is bad PR. But still, I gotta thank you for the support. And also, being a Lee Spring Army viewer from Virginia, and of course I'm just kidding with you about the whole, biker gang thing, but really cool to hear that you're in like that historic area around Colonial Williamsburg, right down here. This is the colonial part. Pretty cool. And then right behind the colonial part, they have the stadium, and then also these fields and the arena, and they also have like a whole university back here. And then some normal neighborhoods. But all in all, pretty cool. Pretty neat. And then you got this giant visitor center over here. And you got, like, all this stuff. Really crazy to see how this town kind of, like, built out. And also how, Lafayette Street. Oh, wait a minute. They have a train station to Williamsburg? Hold the phone. It's active. Huh. I had no idea that Williamsburg actually had Amtrak access, like straight to the old part of the town. That is incredibly cool. And I wish I had known that. I wish I had. But moving on from that and over to Yorktown, which is not that far away, this is the area where the British made kind of like their last stand in the country and ended up surrendering to George Washington. And you can see that, you know, some of the siege lines, redoubts, and trenches that the British built still exist here to this day. And then they built a sweet neighborhood on top of it. Well, actually, that's Yorktown. I'm just kidding. Let's see here. And then, in the middle of it all, you have the Yorktown Naval Weapons Station. What are the reviews on this? And also, Matthew, saw some people asking for reviews on that body paint that popped up, but sadly, I don't think we can read those off. What the hell? I don't even know what that is.
Damn.
I don't know what kind of missile that is, but that one looks chunky, that's for sure. Let's see, there's a big ship.
Why does that thing look so coy? It's like peeking around the corner. Hello.
Dude, that thing looks like it's got its hands put together and it's sliding them around like it's like it's getting a mischievous.
Peter, the horse is here.
Peter, the horse is here.
But let's see. What else do we have? Interesting. What a cool place. And then we have the Naval Supply Center and the Navy Exchange Mini Mart. Ooh, nice. But still, thank you so much once again for the support. Also really cool to hear that you're near Norfolk. And I believe, if I'm correct, Newport News. Yeah, Newport News is up here. We passed it. And then down here in Norfolk, there's this giant naval yard where a lot of the supercarriers just kind of hang out. And you can see some of them right here. Look at that.
That's pretty cool.
Pretty cool. You can see some Ticonderogas and Arleigh Burkes. Pretty cool. So with that, thank you so much once again for the support. And I hope we took a look at Wojini fairly well. And with that, guess what? We're on to the next one. But thank you once again for your support and helping this channel to keep on running.
Yes, indeed.
And we got lag.
And
Hang on,
up next.
Stand by.
Oh,
we
we
got
have a lag.
lag. Got lag. The YouTube's telling me we got the lag, but OBS isn't. So with that, let's keep on going.
Peter, the lag is here.
Peter,
But
the lag
anyways.
is here.
But anyways, up next, we have a $20 super chat from Jeff Riedma, I believe is how it's said. And Jeff, thank you very much for the support. Sadly, there's not a comment left, but Jeff, we appreciate you keeping the lights on. And Enforcer, what say you?
And Jeff, you know we appreciate you helping to keep these lights on, helping us to keep this channel running. And of course, without you, it wouldn't be possible. You didn't leave a comment, but your support is greatly appreciated. And so with that, we're on to the next one. And thank you once again, Jeff.
And the next one goes to, yeah, Hoodoo Texas pronounced the Norfolk correctly. But anyways, up next we have a $10 super chat from Hal Rose, who says, Enforcer and Enforcer Matt, good evening. And good evening to you.
Good evening. Is that it?
That's it.
That's it?
all.
Good evening. And so with that, thank you so much for the support. I hope that does address the comment fairly well. And with that, guess what? We're on to the next one. But thank you once again for the support.
And the next one goes to Andre Mogasan, who puts in a 10 and says, just putting it out there, Boyevaya Machina Piek Holtwy. BMP equals infantry fighting vehicle, so the Bradley is a BMP. It's also a SPZ, VCI, and probably some other designations. Smiley face.
I thank you for the support and sharing that with us. I thought BMP stood for something else. Kind of like how AK does not stand for assault caliber, like someone actually said before that I saw, and I thought that was the dumbest thing ever. It stands for automatic Kalashnikov, which means an automatic Kalashnikov rifle. So I thank you for the support and sharing that with us, and it sounds like I've put my foot in my mouth again, and I've been corrected. And so, thank you so much once again for the support. I hope that does address the comment fairly well. And with that, we're on to the next one. And thank you once again.
And up next, another shout out to BC Skyman for putting in a 10 without a comment. And BC, thank you very much once again for helping to keep the channel running. And we always know that you've been a channel legend for a long time, and we appreciate it very much. And up next, we have a $10 super chat from William Allen. He says the other EU countries will supply the F-16s because they have the logistics chains established already. Field maintenance packages will allow UAF base level maintenance and possibly some field level depot maintenance.
Interesting. Interesting. Well, I thank you for the support and sharing that with us. That may be true. But at the same time, while they may have the logistics to maintain the F-16s, does Ukraine have the airfields to operate the F-16s? And how expensive would that be to create an operational airfield? That would be probably one of the larger limiting factors to getting F-16s in Ukraine. But beyond that, that sounds fairly sound, and I would trust you in saying that. And so with that, I hope that does address that fairly well. Thank you so much once again for the support, and also good night to Linda Vickers.
Yes, indeed. Good night. And also, Andre Mogson, we took it kindly. I think Andre took the response the wrong way.
Let's see. Let me. Where is he in the chat?
Andre Mogusan?
Yeah, I don't see him in the chat.
It's right above my comment. It says Linda Vickers, good night.
Let's see. I only see Dennis Wilson.
You have top chat on?
I have live chat on.
Okay. Well, he said, he meant it in a good way.
Oh no, I took it in a good way too. And if anyone has anything to share with us, like that, where we are wrong, we're more than happy to hear it, because sometimes we are wrong, and I was wrong in that instance. And you gave a very good explanation as to why. So do not think for a minute that I took it a bad way. I took it a good way, and I thank you for helping this channel to improve and succeed. That almost sounds like a corporate BS thing, but still, with that, I'm serious. I thank you for sharing that with us, because otherwise I would have gone on saying that falsehood. And so with that, we're on to the next one.
And up next, we have a $10 super chat from Sick Lid, who says propaganda is extremely important. It lifts the spirit of your soldiers and demoralizes your opponents. Wait until U.S. Abrams start being destroyed.
And thank you for the support. Wait until Abrams get destroyed?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Like, maybe they're saying the Russians are going to use that as propaganda?
I don't know. But I do thank you for the support. I don't know how to take that one, actually. I was like, well. Anyways, propaganda is important, because when British people wanted to look at something, they usually take a propaganda. And I've got to agree, absolutely, it's incredibly important to making sure that people's spirits keep high is to always have a propaganda. And so with that, thank you for the support, Governor, and I hope that addresses the propaganda fairly well. And with that, we're on to the next one.
All right. And also, we have 860 followers on the Twitter page now. So if you have, what's the word? Followed? Yeah, if you have followed the Twitter page, big thanks to you. And also, I'm looking for that bot that y'all are talking about in the chat. I'm not seeing it, but y'all tag it and I'll get rid of it. Oh, they're saying the person we read the super chat off was a bot, I think. But anyways, also, if you want to follow our Twitter page, you can go to the link in the description. And also, I'm going to post it in the chat in a minute as well. Be sure to join, because we're going to send out notifications and stuff from there, in addition to our Discord as well.
Also, Megan, you say you're wrong on the F-16s. They can handle any runway. We pulled that up, but that's not true. We did a decent amount of research on that. F-16s are incredibly fragile and require a proper kind of concrete, apparently, and also their landing gear are very weak, so they have to be landed softly and then take up a lot of runway. So I usually take corrections and usually learn from them, but that one required a lot of research, and I got slammed way back in the day by literally anyone who worked on the F-16 or flew one when I said that a while ago, where it could land on any runway. So with that, we're on to the next one.
All right, and up next, we have a $10 super chat from Tom Slick, who says, Enforcer Matt, you guys do great work. And thank you, Tom.
And thank you, Tom, for the support. And thank you for saying we do good work, because we try our best. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support, and I hope that does address that fairly well. And with that, we're on to the next one, and thank you for enjoying this channel.
All right, and up next, we have a $10 super chat from Psyops, and this one goes to automatic review. It raised all the red flags, and the Enforcer can take a look.
All right, and it's going to review. Let's take a look at it. It's going to review, Governor. Let's take a look, yeah? All right. All right, that one is hitting every single red flag. Call that thing a play on the fourth down because it is throwing out red flags like it's some kind of penalty. So with that, I thank you for the support. Sadly, we cannot read it, but thank you for helping this channel to keep on running and always being a source of good humor. Sadly, humor we can't read. And so with that, we're on to the next one.
All right, and up next, we have a $10 super chat from Equilibrist, who does not leave a comment, but thank you very much for your support as well, and we appreciate it very much. And up next, we have a $10 super chat from the Loner fella, who says 3,388 tanks plus 6,630 APVs is greater than 10,000. How many countries even have 10,000 armored fighting vehicles?
Not many. I believe the United States is the only one that has more than 10,000 vehicles. But we could check. Well, yeah, we could check. How many super chats do we have left, Matthew?
We have, excuse me, we have, let's count. About 20.
Yikes. Well, let's pull it up. How many armored vehicles per country? You know, I don't believe that. 151,641 armored vehicles for the Russians and 303,000 for the United States. I'm having a hard time believing that we got that many APCs and tanks because the numbers don't add up to that.
And somebody just asked me, does propaganda exist in the USA? Oh, yes, sir, it does.
Oh, yeah, just take a look at political parties on either side and tell me that's not propaganda. Interestingly enough, I ran into someone the other day, and I don't talk about politics a lot, that they wanted to insist to me that one party was an angel and the other one was the devil. And he's not the first person to do that. It's just that it's the first time I've heard it in a while, and I was like, wow, people actually believe this stuff? I was like, what? I was like, that's kind of crazy. But anyways, not getting into that too much because, you know, we don't get into politics on here, and I made it a point not to get into politics in public either. We are on to the next one.
All right, and the next one goes to Andre Mogasan. Once again, he puts in a 20 this time and says, did you talk about the two Rheinmetall Skynets AA systems being used in Ukraine? I refreshed some parts of the stream because of the lag. Info was apparently given by Rheinmetall CEO. They were bought by Germany for Ukraine last year.
We did put these things on video. I don't know if they were ever sent. We've never seen video evidence of them being in Ukraine, but we did check it out, and these things were incredibly cool, and we're able to blast out dozens of drones out of the sky with just a few well-placed shots. So we did cover it. I just don't know if they ever made it there, and it is really cool to know that they eventually will either have them or they already have them. So with that, I thank you so much once again for the support, and I hope that does address and comment fairly well to our favorite Swole Squirrel. And with that, we're on to the next one. Thank you once again for the support.
And also, Avari said he's been in the ER since 10 a.m. Central, not much to do. And also, Avari, like I said earlier, I hope it's nothing serious. But being in the ER is a bad place. Like, I've had nothing but bad experiences going to ERs for any reason. So, I don't envy you, but all the best to you.
And I hope you do get better, Avari. It's never fun to be in the ER, and hopefully whatever you're in there for is just a small little thing. But with that, we are on to the next one.
And the next one goes to Jeff Ridmeyer, once again, who puts in a 10 and says, I don't think you've seen it the first time, so here we go. My idea was to take a HIMARS made in Italy and mount on the weapons and guide it with drones to the targets.
That's a pretty interesting idea. I don't
HIMARS, actually.
Say what?
HIMARS?
HIMARS?
No, HIMARS.
Oh, well, they may be talking about HIMARS. So with that, pretty cool idea. I don't really know a lot whether it work or not because whenever I try and get into saying something may work or not, we have like everyone in the chat becomes an engineer and they tell me it won't or it will or something. But I don't really know for certain, to be honest with you. But still, thank you for the support. I hope that does address the question fairly well. And with that, we're on to the next one.
And up next, we have a $10 super chat from AJS9437, who says, "Hey guys, asked about the USS Nevada being added to War Thunder, and curious if you would go into the history of the ship surviving 2 atomic bombs and torpedoes during the Bikini Atoll testing. Cheers."
And thank you for the support. Sadly, I don't know if we can due to time constraints, but I can say the USS Nevada was a pretty interesting battleship, at least in its design. Not a lot of people think of these kinds of class of battleship being World War II battleships. We usually think of the Iowa class, but these were kind of common in the U.S. Navy, at least to a small degree, and it did survive 2 atomic blast tests before it went down. Kind of like the USS Texas and the HMS Warspite. It was a very robust ship and very well designed, although it doesn't really get a lot of attention in the modern world. And so with that, I thank you so much for the support. I hope that addresses that a little bit, but sadly, due to time constraints, I can't give the entire history. But with that, we're on to the next one. And thank you once again for the support.
All right. And up next, we have a $10 super chat from Jesus UCSB once again, who says, "Party at Jesus's house in Anaheim for live stream. Mexicans have cool backyard parties. LSA live, haha. Oh, and it's Jesus, LOL."
I think you already read that one.
It's actually the second one he sent in.
Oh, well.
And he sent in another one, too, with the exact same thing. So he put it into 20, actually.
Well, thank you for the support, Jesus. And I hope we addressed that fairly well earlier. And thank you for helping this channel to keep on running. And so with that, we are on to the next one. All
right. And up next, we have a $10 super chat from CK Bold, who does not leave a comment and leaves a ... So thank you very much, CK. If you have something to say, please let us know, and we'll be sure to read it off with the ... But thanks for keeping the lights running. And Enforcer, what say you?
And I gotta thank you for the support and helping this channel to keep on running. And ... And so with that, we're on to the next one. But thank you once again for helping this channel to keep on running.
All right, and up next we have a $10 super chat from William Allen, who says, "Sharks have gills, no way to force air through vocal cords. Flipper has lungs." Well, look, this is the jaw shark, and the jaw shark doesn't adhere to the normal rules of shark, so it might have said it.
Matthew, you got to give up on that thing, man. That shark did not say that. That was clearly the guy. That was clearly the guy. How the hell would he even say it so clearly with a giant oxygen tank in the shark's mouth?
That's why it came out like mumbled, because it was like trying to get around that oxygen tank.
Man. It was the man. But with that, I thank you for the support. I thank you for sharing that anatomical information with us. And with that, we're on to the next one. Thank you once again for the support.
And up next, also, let's see here. Let's see. Trying to see what the bot was here. Oh, there we go. These people are shills. Okay, thank you. And now you can leave. Up next, we have a $10 super chat from Mycroft, who says, "How about LSA merch for themed edible paint?"
I don't know about that. I don't think we'll be having any of that considering what we found. But still, thank you for the support and helping this channel to keep on running. And we're on to the next one.
And the next one goes to White Lightning 777, who puts in an 8 and says, "If you put a good muzzle brake on an AK, that'll smooth it out. Adjustable RPK rear sights are also a good upgrade, and I love my AKs."
And I thank you for the support. Cool to hear that you like your AKs. But I just don't think, no matter what I do to the AK, I'm going to like it, just because it's... I didn't really find it pleasant to shoot. But I'll see about trying to make those changes in the future and see if it makes it better. And so with that, thank you so much once again for the support. I hope that does address the comment fairly well. And also, Matthew, I'm just making sure, is there a one in from the Train Spotter from Canada?
Let's see, the Train Spotter from Canada. I have one from Epic Trains Canada.
Okay, yeah, I was just making sure it was in there because I was like, maybe he would have been called out yet.
Yeah, he's coming up next.
Oh, got you. All right, and so with that, we're on to the next one.
All right, and up next, we have a $10 super chat from Commander Prankster, who says, "For coffee."
Hey, that's not epic train. I'm just kidding with you. But I thank you so much once again for Commander Prankster for the support and helping us to get some coffee. Because right now, I honestly got to tell y'all, I feel like I need some because I got a headache, from just whatever. I don't even know what it is anymore. And yeah, well, still, thank you so much once again for support and helping this channel to keep on running. And with that, we're on to the next one. And thank you once again.
And up next, we have a $7 super chat from Snowy, who does not leave a comment. And thank you, Snowy, very much for the support, and thank you for helping to keep us running. And up next, we have that 7 from Epic Trains Canada, who says, I love how you also watch ship videos. My favorite YouTuber is Oceanliner Designs. I recently read the book by Robert Ballard about discovering the Titanic, Igor, in Slav Ukraine.
You know what's funny is that you said this guy is your favorite YouTube channel and not mine. My feelings are hurt. Still moving on past the joke and the pain. Yes, I do watch Oceanliner Designs. I think it's a pretty good channel. I've been binging a lot of his stuff because it's just it's incredibly interesting stuff. He presents it really well, and he's made these stories worthwhile and worth listening to. So I was like, hey, that's not that bad. I'll watch his videos. So giving them a bit of a plug. I know it's not Ukraine war stuff. He's only got like 40,000 more subscribers than us, and the quality of his videos and how good they are, he deserves more. It's just sadly naval stuff is really niche. Not a lot of people are into naval stuff anymore. But I think he makes great content. So if y'all ever go over there, let him know that I plugged his channel and I thought it was pretty cool. Because he makes naval stuff interesting, especially the commercial side of the naval world instead of the military side, which is what most people focus on, like Drachnafel. Although I'm not dissing on Drachnafel, he also makes great content. It's just that, like, Drachnafel seems like the original, and then there's like a million people out there who are trying to like ride his coattails or carry his energy. And it's I feel like the Drachnafel copycats have kind of like overdone the naval combat side of that niche. But Oceanliner Designs is dominating the cruise line and merchant ship niche of the naval world on YouTube. And so with that, I hope that addresses that fairly well. Thank you so much once again for the support. And with that, we are on to the next one.
All right. And up next, we have a $5 super chat from White Lightning 777, who says, who created that deep fake announcing that Americans were being drafted for the start of World War III? Will they face criminal charges? And POTUS was depicted.
I don't know if they would face criminal charges for that. I don't know if that falls under breaking any laws, like yelling, fire, fire, there's a fire in the building. I don't know if it falls under anything like that. I feel like it probably doesn't. And also, if people are that gullible to think that the president would put out like a Twitter or something saying that they're getting drafted instead of making a national address or something, it's like I got to be honest, that kind of stuff is annoying, but at the same time, I feel like people ought to have more common sense. Like, the IRS is never going to reach out to you over a phone call. It's always going to be through the mail. And if a draft ever happens, that's going to be announced on the news, like actual mainstream news. It's going to be announced probably by a special address by the president. And then also you'll probably be getting a letter in the mail saying that you've been drafted. And I feel honestly like people shouldn't freak out about that kind of stuff, and they ought to know better about our governmental system and how these things work instead of just freaking out about everything. Because that's why so many people get had by the fake IRS scammers every year, is that they don't realize that a government institution will never just call you and threaten to arrest you within seconds. They're going to send you a letter or something similar. So with that, I hope that addresses that fairly well. I thank you so much once again for the support. And with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and up next, we have a $5 super chat from Dark Warrior 137, who says it's joke time. 150,000 Russians walk into a bar. You'd think at least one of them would have heard it shooting at them.
Oh, and look at that right there. We're back in the 1940s with an absolute banger. Oh, absolutely incredible. So many people got gunned down by the bar, and absolutely wonderful. Can I have a drink, bartender? Hold the blood. Oh, hilarious. Well, I gotta thank you so much once again for the support and helping this channel to keep on running, and also a pretty funny joke at the expense of 150,000 Russians. Well, with that, thank you once again. It's been an absolute pleasure. And with that, we're on to the next one. And thank you once again.
And the next one goes to JJ, who puts in a 5 and says, look in the boneyard at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base. We have F-16s and other aircraft we could send to Ukraine.
Davis Mothman. Davis. The Davis Mothman Air Base. Let's go out here. We've been here before, haven't we? We have been here before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matthew, let's both sound a little bit more excited about that this time. We've been here before.
Oh, yes, we have. Wow.
Yeah. But we have been here before. There's F-18s out here that we could give. There's F-4 Phantoms. We still have those. And the F-16s, you are right. We could send them. I don't know what kind of condition they're in, because usually these things are practically gutted by the time they get out here.
I wonder if Zelensky like turns on the Google Maps right here and goes like shopping virtually, like oh, I'll have 5 of those, 10 of these, please send.
Man, they do have the fighter aircraft. I'm looking at them on Google Maps. Man, they're lying.
It's like, you know how you do it like at a car dealership, like, I would like to inquire, do you have that car still available? Zelensky calls up like the president. Excuse me, do you have those 10 fighters left in that field over there? He's like, what? What plane? What's a plane?
Yes, I would like 5 B-1 Lancers. I'd like a couple of B-52s, maybe some C-5 Galaxies, and some F-16s, please. Slava Ukraini. Like I would honestly, at this point, I would just do that. I'd be like, send the airframes. We'll sort it out. Click. And then just have them sent, because there's plenty of them out here, and there's no reason why we can't send these unless they've been gutted so badly it would be more expensive to put them back together than to just send operational ones. But with that, I thank you so much once again for the support. I hope that does address the comment fairly well. And with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you once again for sharing that with us all the way out there in the grand city of Tucson as we zoom out and the map doesn't load. Come on, computer. Come on, internet. Work with me here. Work with me. And with that, we're on to the next one.
And the next one goes to Sick Lid, who puts in a 5 and says, meet and greet at Birmingham Starbucks and hee-haw. Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. Gloom, despair, and agony on me. But anyways, I thank you so much for the support. Not a bad idea. It's just, which Starbucks? Which one? But still, thank you so much once again for support. I hope that does address that fairly well. And I gotta say, Sick Lid, you were keeping that lid sick. Like Tony Hawk with a skateboard. And so with that, thank you so much once again. I hope that addresses that fairly well. And we're on to the next one.
And Beeps and Eats said, excuse me, good sir, but do you have any gray aircraft by chance, my good man? It's like, yes, we have plenty.
Excuse me, but you happen to chance any gray aircraft by good fortune, mate? Yeah.
Oh, yes, we might have a smackling right over here, just a few thousand.
You know, I asked the people from Liverpool, if I remember correctly, they're called Scousers. Oh, hiya, would you like an aircraft? I can't get over how nice people in Liverpool were. They honestly made Southern people seem a little stuck up with how nice they were. It was really interesting. But anyways.
Also, do you offer trade-ins and service plans? Yes, we'd like to trade in these old nasty janky planes for those new ones, please.
Matthew, it's like a rental car agency. Yes, I'm here to pick up the 3 F-15s I got. Oh, sorry, we've already rented all of those out. Would you like an F-4 instead? You know, or something like that.
Yeah.
That's not what I ordered.
Or if you like this little Cessna.
I literally paid $170 to have that damn Tahoe here at this place at this time, and you're telling me you rented them all? Yes. What do you have for a replacement? A Volvo. That is not like that. That's pretty much like the whole way rentals work. But anyways, we're on to the next one.
All right, and up next we have thank you, technical fool. Up next we have a $5 super chat from AJS9437 who says, I got another for you. Can you expose some new Enforcer merch that's coming soon in Slavia, Ukraine? And AJS, there is some new Enforcer merch being worked on in the background. I'll just give you one hint word, and it'll be the only hint you get. Discord.
And so with that, I hope that addresses that fairly well. And we're on to the next one. And thank you once again for the support.
And up next, we have a $5 super chat from Mr. President, who says, "This is the greatest live stream the world has ever seen. It's tremendous, and ask anyone, it's true."
And thank you for the support, and thank you for the high praise. I would hope it's true. If it wasn't true, I'd cry. But still, thank you so much once again for helping this channel run, Governor, and giving us the support to make it so. And so with that, we're on to the next one, and thank you once again.
All right. And our next one
Throwing
goes
Matthew
to...
Throwing Matthew off one line at a time. He's like, oh, okay.
Yes. Our next one goes to Jesus UCSB once again, who puts in a 5 and says, "Haha. I have a poll idea. Best taco, asada, al pastor, carnitas, nafo."
You know, NAFO would probably be a pretty good option. I just don't know if it's edible because it's a whole organization. It might be a little too filling. You know,
Will it taco?
Yeah, yeah. So with that, I'd have to honestly say carnitas because carnitas are never a bad choice. And so with that, I thank you so much once again for the support. I hope that does address the comment fairly well. And with that, we're on to the next one, yeah?
And up next, we have a $4 super chat from Junebug72, who does not leave a comment. But Junebug, thank you very much for being around for a very, very long time, and thank you for that support. And up next, we have a $3 super chat from Jean-Marc Pagan Owl, who says, tired of Canada being the second biggest country of the world. Please, Russia, break apart.
You know, that would be pretty funny if Canada did become the biggest country in the world because the Russians started to fracture. I think that'd be hilarious. And so I'd have to agree with you. I hope they break apart because I think that'd be funny that our northern neighbor is the biggest country in the world. I think the United States would actually be like a couple of notches down the rung. I think there are a couple of countries larger than America. I don't know. But with that, we're on to the next one. And thank you once again for the support.
And the next one goes to Marcus, who puts in a 3 and says, "Is the UK sending storm shadows to Ukraine?"
The UK sending storm shadows to Ukraine. Storm shadow. Storm shadow. If you're talking about G.I. Joe, no. Probably not. Also, this guy looks a little questionable in all white. He's just missing a couple of extra accoutrements, and he'll be in the registry. But anyways, I think I've heard about a couple of these being sent, but we've never seen them used. So, with that, I hope that addresses the comment fairly well. I hope we threw in a funny joke there, too. It was funny. It was funny, wasn't it? And so with that, we're on to the next one, but I think they did.
All right, and the next one goes to Dupper Bob, who puts in a 2 and says, "Slava Ukraine." And Hiram Slava to you, and thank you very much for the support once again. And the last one we have for now is from Landlubber, who puts in a 2 and says, "Air Defense Minister takes a window trip, question mark?"
I would have to say, Governor, the Air Defense Minister is probably taking a nice little air trip down here to Australia. I hope I'm doing that right because I feel like I'm butchering all of your accents. I'm so sorry because all of y'all are really cool. But moving on to answer the question, I don't know if the Air Defense Minister will be jumping out of a window because it seems like he keeps on getting ridiculed and criticized, but he's never been thrown out the window yet. So we're kind of waiting on that. We're seeing if it'll ever happen. And so with that, I hope that does address that fairly well. And we're on to the last one.
We have another super chat, and this one goes to Yo ST, who puts in a 5 and says, "Keep up the good work and live chat, please."
And thank you for the support, yo. Yo! And also, we will make sure to get a live chat. So thank you so much once again for support, helping this channel to keep on running. And what we got for a live chat, Matthew?
And the live chat question goes to the Sunken Grave, who says, "Didn't we bring Ukrainian pilots to the U.S. to train on the F-16? Why, if we're not going to send them the planes?"
Good question. We did bring them to the U.S. and train them on F-16s. But now it seems that, also, real quick, no politics in the chat, please. I keep on seeing you down there saying something, and it's political. We don't have that in here. So with that, I'll getting back to this question. It's a good question. I think it's because we realized that either it's not feasible for us to do, there's diplomatic situation behind the scenes that the U.S. isn't really talking about. But there's one thing one thing I think the U.S. government ought to do, and if I ever become president, I'm going to do this, is I'm going to become a far more transparent with the public, at least in the plans that the U.S. government has, than countries are now. Because if you ever listen just back in the 80s about how presidents and prime ministers would talk about things, it was far more clear and far more realistic in what they were saying. Like, if there was a strategic concern or a diplomatic concern or anything similar, no matter how fragile the situation could be, they explained it in a lot more clear terms than we see today. In fact, we really don't get an explanation from anyone anymore in the government about the real reason why anything happens. You just get all this stupid flack and nonsense in the background. You don't ever get to find out why we're doing something. Like if the U.S. government just said, we're not going to send F-16s over because we think that's actually crossing the red line with the Russians, and we're not really sure if that's one we can return from, I feel like that would be really well received because they're just being honest. It's like, and then that puts the conversation, whether people agree or disagree with that decision, it puts it in the right direction in the public. And then people start talking about whether we should be scared of the Russians and not send them over, or whether we should, instead of sitting there and making it sound like it's about the runways or about the funding. Because one thing we've seen is that the U.S., through the amount of support we've given to Ukraine, find the amount of funding we're sending to not really have a limit, from what I can tell. So why in the world are we now acting like there is a limit to how much support we could send in a given amount of time with the F-16s? That's my opinion on it. And I also think it's really stupid that we don't ever get... the government just... I'm going to have to be honest with you here. And also, TTCMZX, the political rule on this channel weighs in on talking about a certain party or certain parties and having biases against one or the other. We do delve into politics, and we used to delve into politics a little bit as long as it was fairly applied to both sides, and that's what I'm doing right now. But to get it back into it, why the hell can no one just say what we're doing? Like when we say we're starting to align ourselves with the Indians, wait, no one gives an answer anymore as to why we're doing that. So the public, is just left searching for answers, and the first person who gives an answer is the first person they just go with. If the government would sit there and say, we're aligning with the Indians because the Chinese are building a sphere of influence in Central Asia and East Africa, and the only way we can counter this sphere of influence in this new sphere, this new rival power, is to ally ourselves with the Sri Lankans and the Indians. I think people would actually get that and be like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Instead of whatever the hell we're doing now, and people are like questioning, why are we trying to vie with the Indians? Why are we trying to become friends with them? Because it's never mattered to us before. Why does it matter now? So that's kind of just a problem I see by and large with the government. And that's not just, and of course I know some people, because whenever we bring up this stuff, everyone always tries to take their opinion and then morph my statement to conform with whatever their beliefs are. That's to both sides, because I have never seen over the past 20 years, of me being alive, anyone really being honest about why we do things, or what the government's plan really is long term, at least in terms of diplomacy.
You mean when you were 3 years old, you were judging people on their political beliefs?
No. I'm talking about like looking back now, being old enough to understand things and how things work and going on, and looking back to when I was a very small child, like 3 years old. It's like people weren't even saying stuff straightforward back then, and people used to, like 40 years ago, they used to say it. Back then, people actually thought these people were giving them the runaround. And if they saw what was happening 40 years in the future, they would be thinking that they were talking to them straightforward. But anyways, with that, we are on to the next one.
All right, and the next one goes to Jason John, who puts in a $20 donation and says, "Sup, gents, can you look up my hometown of Sandpoint, Idaho?" And also, this is Jason's first super chat according to YouTube.
And thank you so much for the support, Jason Hahn. Hasten Hahn or Jason John? I don't know which way your last name is pronounced, but let's look at Sandpoint, Idaho. Sandpoint, Idaho. Where is this? Maybe we drove by. Oh, no, we did not drive by that. That's like up near Glacier National Park, up on that level north. But let's take a look at this town. Sandpoint, Is it sandy here?
Could be.
Could be. The graphics aren't loading. For some reason, we're having a problem with the computer tonight.
Come on, Spectrum.
There we go. Oh, this doesn't look that bad. Looks just like Truck Simulator. Dang it, it's still loading again. God, this is really going to get on my nerves.
I've heard Idaho's a really nice place to live, just anywhere in the state.
Yeah, I've heard that Idaho is really not. Let's just look at these pictures here. I bet that'll be easier.
Like Boise.
Wow, look how clear the water is. It's like going to the beach. I wonder how cold the water is. Also, they got some caws.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, they got some very nice caws. BC Skyman would put these guys to shame, though. Like, he would. And here's the actual town of Sandpoint. Wow, this is nice. Look, they even got a real theater running over here. The local film, The Fade. They're going to catch a fade. I like that, though. Let's see.
And that was the day that Timmy got beat up.
That was the day Timmy caught hands. But that's
no cap.
No cap on bussin'. But I like this place. This is really nice. If I had known about this earlier in life, I would have been able to do absolutely nothing about it. But hey, at least I would have known about it. So I got to thank you for the support. And Jason Hahn said, go towards the water. Is Jason Voorhees in there? Is that why you want us to go towards the water? Or like that guy said in that video, Matthew, get out the water. Wait, there's a train station here? No way! Don't tell me y'all are serviced by Amtrak. No way. How the hell is everyone serviced by Amtrak but us? Well, we are serviced by Amtrak in Birmingham, but you know, like, why are these small towns serviced by Amtrak? I'm not understanding. That's crazy, though. I like that. But still, thank you so much once again for support and allowing us to take a look at this interesting town of Sandpoint. And with that, we are on to the next one. And thank you once again for the support and helping this channel to keep on running.
All right. And up next, we have a $5 super chat from Justin of the Beaver, who says, give it to the chat.
And thank you for the support, Justin of the Beaver. And we will make sure to give it to the chat. And so with that, what do we got, Matthew?
All right, and this one is going to go to the Morse code decoders of the stream. JP's RC's Mark Hodges, Cfay, Rumpelstiltskin, and Cliff Simonson. They said the Morse says, Russians everywhere know the feeling of a drone attack.
Ding-ding-ding-ding. Y'all are correct. They do know the feeling of a drone attack anywhere and everywhere. Just ask any Russian forces, even inside of Russia right now, and they'll tell you, oh, bled, it's bad, bled. And so with that, I hope that does address the Morse code fairly well. Thank you all for deciphering that again. And with that, we are on to the last two live chats of the night. And so with that, we're on to the next one.
And also, before I forget, before we move on to the final two live chat questions, I just want to say thank you to Ricardo, because he sent me a really cool holster in the mail. We got out of the P.O. box yesterday. Very cool. It had like the Enforcer logo all over it. And thank you, Ricardo. He's also from FTA Holsters, I believe it was. But thank you very much. And real quick, let me get that question. This question is going to go to Alex, who says, any updates on who or what struck the Russian spy plane in Belarus? And thanks, y'all.
From what we found out afterwards, it may have been a drone launched by partisans in the nearby area that slammed into the aircraft, but it wasn't a Tu-141 drone. We did find that out. But it was like an FPV drone or something similar with a very large explosive on it. But still, we don't have exact information or details behind it, but that's our best guess and assumption right now from what we've been told. And so, with that, I hope that answers that question fairly well. And with that, we are on to the final question of the night. And so, who is the lucky last person who threw in the lucky last question of the night?
And that viewer is Try and Take Alaska, who said, did you hear that Russia said that they would nuke Yellowstone to set off the super volcano to destroy the USA?
Don't they? Doesn't everyone always say that? Like, that's just, man, they can't come up
We're
with
going to
anything.
launch that nuke at your super volcano.
As President of the United States, I've got to let you know I'm never going to let that happen.
Like, that's just stupid sounding. Like, that's the dumbest. Oh, we're gonna we're gonna hit the freaking volcano. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, watch this, man. Boom, flash drive in your nuclear power plant. Checkmate. You know what I'm talking about, Matthew?
I think so.
You know, where they plug in the flash drive to the nuclear power plant, the thing just goes into meltdown and there's no way to stop it?
I think.
I'll
take your word for it.
I'd take my word for it. I would. But anyways, that is hilarious to hear. I beg them to try. I really do. Because they will not like what happens to them if they do try. You know, because unlike the Russians, who sit there and think that they're invincible or something, which is idiotic, I understand that it's going to be a fair exchange. So if they want to kill us, well, we'll end up getting all of them. So it won't really matter in the end because they won't be around to laugh at it. So with that, I hope that does address that fairly well. And I also hope, try and take Alaska, that they try. I hope they try and take Alaska because they're going to get eaten by polar bears and die of exposure before they ever even get to Anchorage. So with that, I hope that does address that fairly well. I thank everyone so much once again for watching tonight. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and join the new Twitter. Link in the description below. So that way you can join in on the fun as we start up a new Twitter account. And thank you all so much once again for watching. And so with that, good night, good luck, take care, stay safe, and of course, Slava Ukraini.
Hear Slava.
Yes.
The Leaf Spring Army sends its regards.
Ще не вмерла України ні слава, ні воля. Ще нам, браття українці, усміхнеться доля. Згинуть наші вороженьки, як роса на сонці. Запануємо ми, браття, у своїй сторонці. Душу й тіло ми положим за нашу свободу і покажем, що ми браття козацького роду. Душу й тіло ми положим за нашу свободу і покажем, що ми браття козацького